Oh my God, did you hear? There's like no law that says you have to pay federal income taxes. That is, everybody's been doing this totally wrong. That is, as a tax attorney, my life has been a total fraud. Isn't that exciting? Well, that's the way it is if you believe things on the internet. And here I want to talk about a video that is getting a ton of views. This is Sheree Peel Jackson, somebody who says there is no law that says you need to file your taxes, and she just got out of prison for not paying her taxes. Anyway, this is a video where I just want to kind of go over some of the arguments and how people get themselves into so much trouble with the IRS. And really one of the first things to think about is really what the heck is this government thing all about? And the first thing I want to talk about is something, a Bible passage that I always thought helped me out, figure out and navigate the world a little bit. It's Matthew 22:21, and it's render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. And so what does this mean? Well, to me it means this: don't rely on government for morality and justice. Okay, it's nice when it happens, it is, but Caesar is not a reliable provider of either things. And if you are a victim of a crime, you know that the government really can never make you whole. And if you are wrongly accused of a crime, you know, even if you are acquitted, that they can never take back that anguish and expense you went through while you thought you were going to go to prison. That there are very few, justice just is something that it's nice in theory, but really can't be provided by the government. But what is government? Well, think of it this way, and here it is, and I refer to Caesar, the government as Caesar because it's a little bit more poetic. But Caesar has the legal monopoly on how to use force, and that's it. Caesar has nothing else. Now, sometimes that force the government uses is right, but other times, other times. We're coming up on the 100-year anniversary of the start of World War I, and if there is any proof that governments can cause the biggest havoc, the World War I caused a wound that I don't think has ever been healed. The world is still suffering from the horrible things that governments caused man to do to each other. So that's really the kind of the perspective we have to put things in, that governments abusing, colluding together to deny people their fundamental rights, that is the rule. And freedom is a blink of our human condition. So part of it is accepting what government is and not idealizing it, but rather fearing it, like the founders of our country did. Now I want to talk about, the next thing I want to talk about is a old law. Remember, this is not one of Caesar's laws. Okay, this is not Caesar's law. This is a law many people share, try to live by, and understand it's a bad thing when you break it. But this is not Caesar's law. It's the eighth commandment: "Thou shalt not steal." And how does this apply to the income tax? Well, the argument goes like this, and you're free to disagree, but the income tax charges you income based on what you have, not what you use. That is, you have a tax bill because you are in possession of money that you came in, or the exchange of money you came in to this year. That's the only reason why you do it. You don't owe it because you use more. And in fact, the more you make, the more likely it is you didn't use those government services. So that for someone to say, you know what, the government has no moral right to steal my money or to take my money, and that's theft. You know what? There's a strong moral reason for that. The problem where people get themselves into trouble is they try to take that biblical law and apply it to Caesar, which you just simply cannot do, and your life will end up in frustration. And to me, that is why these arguments that the income tax, there is no such income tax, it's all a fraud, this is why they gain traction, because people want to believe that there is no such thing. People want to believe the government is good. Well, the government's the government. Okay, so what I want to do right now is show you a video clip on YouTube of Sheila Sheree Peel Jackson. She was an ex-IRS employee who this YouTube video has gotten a ton of views, and I see a lot of the comments, people are agreeing with what she says. So this is a little segment of where she is claiming that there is no law that that allows the IRS to tax your income.
And it says, "Dear we the people, most citizens are not required to file an income tax return. The 16th Amendment to the Constitution is a fraud, and if you file, you waive your Fifth Amendment rights." I said, okay, that's some of the stuff she was saying. Now, this is a lot of reading. But I kept reading because I was very interested, you know, being a CPA and into fraud and all that. I wanted to see what was going on. So here in the third column, it says, "No one has been able to collect the $50,000 reward offered by Bill Conklin to anyone that can identify the section of the Internal Revenue Code that makes a typical worker liable for the income tax." I'm serious about winning this $50,000. Okay, so it's at my desk. Basically, I just shoved everything off my desk and got the codes out, the regulations out, the tax guide I got on the internet to look at the Cornell University site, all these different things, and I started researching. And 2 weeks later, I said to myself, oh my goodness, we have a problem here. It doesn't look like I'm going to win this money.
Okay, so you get that? That Ms. Jackson, she sat down with every code, regulation, everything that there is out there. She can find any place where it said that any individual has to pay income taxes to the IRS. Now, let's assume that she's right. Let's assume that we can't find anything in Title 26 that says that. Let's assume. I'm going to say, what does it matter? You know, and here's an example. And here's how you know it doesn't matter. In 1973, tell me the federal law that authorized abortion. What was the name of it? Where was it? Anywhere in the U.S. Code? Any regulation? Oh, there wasn't one. Oh, that's right, there wasn't one. In fact, there's a Texas law that forbade abortions. But what happened? The Supreme Court said, well, we don't care what the law is. We're going to make the law that abortions are legal. Now they are legal across the land. So the thing is does it even matter what a statute says? What a regulation says? Doesn't it matter what a federal judge says? Doesn't it matter what a federal judge says the Department of the Federal Department of Prisons should do with you? That's the relevant inquiry. So I challenge anyone, $50,000 to find me the judge who won't imprison you if you are convicted of tax evasion and are sentenced to a period of incarceration. Well, what about that U.S. Today article that Ms. Jackson held up? Well, that was actually an advertisement run by We the People. It's a group that made money, or allegedly made money, off of telling people not to file their taxes. And there are a few cases right now pending in criminal court of some of the promoters of We the People. Okay, in this section, this is a bit of a shell game. That Ms. Jackson, she mentions that a notice of levy only applies to B and C and not A. And then she talks about what A is and says that therefore a levy only applies to A, which is not what most people are, not B and C, the exact thing the levy says that the levy is going to attach to.
So this is a notice of levy, and someone said, hey, this is a notice of levy. This is what the banks get, or your job or whatever. They said, look at the back of it. So I'm looking at the back of this notice of levy, and it says Section 6331, levy and distraint. And then it says B and C. And I'm thinking, it starts off with B? What happened to A? So I looked up A. And here's A. And it says levy may be made upon the accrued salary or wages of any officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of the United States or the District of Columbia by serving a notice of levy. I'm thinking, but that's not most people. That's not the person that works at AT&T or Bell South or Coca-Cola. That's not most people. Aren't people noticing that the A isn't on here? Aren't they curious about it? Why are they doing this? So all this is going through my head during this period of time, then I'm realizing that there's a rat in the camp. That's what I call it.
You know, this isn't to say that everything she is saying is wrong. In fact, she is talking about the Federal Reserve, and she happens to be right about this.
If you didn't know before today that the Federal Reserve isn't federal, raise your hand. Most people don't know that. 9 out of 10 people that I asked off the street don't understand that the Federal Reserve is a non-auditable private banking cartel.
But I guess my point or my question is what does any of this matter? That shouldn't we be focusing on what will a federal judge say the law is? Because that federal judge is the one who will incarcerate you. This is Anthony Parent of Parent LLP, the IRSMedic. If you like this video, please subscribe, leave your comments, keep them somewhat tasteful. Like us on Facebook and visit our website, www.irsmedic.com, for more tax information. Thanks for watching.